The Eye of the Sahara is one of the strangest sights on the entire planet.
The Eye of the Sahara ranks among Earth's most baffling natural wonders.
Hidden in the remote deserts of Mauritania, near the ancient town of Wadain, it is a vast set of perfect circular rings, one inside the other, like a colossal target drawn onto the Earth.
The formation looks like immense rings nested together, a natural emblem of precision on a continental scale.
Officially, it is called the Rishat structure, and it measures around 40 kilometers across, wide enough to swallow a large city whole. From the ground, it is almost impossible to appreciate. A traveler standing inside it would simply see low, rocky ridges stretching into the distance, with no hint of the enormous pattern around them.
Officially named the Rishat structure, it spans 40 kilometers, vast enough to engulf a city.
Its true shape only reveals itself from high above, which is exactly why this giant bullseye stayed a quiet secret of the desert until humans finally found a way to look down on it from the sky.
Its full form emerges only from above, a desert bullseye hidden until flight revealed it.
The Eye of the Sahara became famous not from the ground, but from space. In June 1965, during NASA's Gemini 4 mission, astronauts James McDivitt and Edward White looked down from orbit and photographed the giant rings far below them in the Mauritanian desert. The same flight is remembered for White performing the first American spacewalk. Their images helped bring the formation to the world's attention and earned it the nickname it carries today. There is a common myth that the astronauts discovered it, but that is not quite true. French geographers had already described the strange circular feature back in the 1930s, and pilots had reportedly used it as a landmark even earlier. What space travel really did was reveal its full scale and beauty. To this day, astronauts on the International Space Station still use the Eye as one of the most recognizable landmarks on the face of the planet. For years, scientists were convinced the Eye of the Sahara had to be a scar left by something from space. The reasoning seemed obvious. A near-perfect circle, that enormous, sitting in the middle of a flat desert, looked exactly like the kind of mark a giant meteorite might leave behind. For a time, the leading idea was that a massive object from the heavens had slammed into the Earth here long ago. Then the careful studies began, and the impact theory quietly fell apart. Geologists searched for the telltale signs that a high-speed impact always leaves in the rock, the crushed and shocked minerals, and they simply were not there. One reported clue turned out to be an ordinary mineral that had been misidentified. There was no central peak, no melted rock, none of the fingerprints of a cosmic collision. The Eye, it turned out, was made entirely on Earth. The real story of how the Eye of the Sahara formed is, in its own way, even more remarkable than a meteorite. Deep beneath this part of Mauritania, long ago, a great mass of molten rock pushed upward from inside the Earth without ever breaking the surface. Like a bubble rising slowly through thick syrup, it forced the flat layers of rock above it to arch upward into an enormous dome. That dome was made of many different layers, some hard and some soft. Then, over an almost unimaginable stretch of time, wind and water went to work, wearing the dome away. The softer rings eroded quickly, while the tougher ridges of quartzite stood firm. Slowly, the rounded dome was sanded flat, leaving behind those alternating circles of hard and soft rock.
The Eye of the Sahara ranks among Earth's most baffling natural wonders.
The famous bullseye is simply the worn-down roots of that ancient dome, exposed at last. The age of the Eye of the Sahara is almost impossible to imagine. Geologists agree the structure is at least 100 million years old, which means it was already taking shape while dinosaurs still walked the Earth. The molten rock that first lifted the dome cooled into stone roughly 99 million years ago, around the time the Atlantic Ocean itself was opening up. Yet a study published in 2024 pushed parts of the story back even further, suggesting that some of the deep rock beneath the Eye was put in place around 200 million years ago. The layers exposed in the rings are older still, with the outer edges made of sandstone laid down hundreds of millions of years before that. Standing inside the eye, a person is surrounded by a slice of Earth's history so deep that all of human existence is barely a single blink within it. The Eye of the Sahara carries one truly irresistible legend. Some people are convinced it is the lost city of Atlantis. The idea exploded across the internet in 2018 when a YouTube creator named Jimmy Corsetti posted a video arguing the case, and it went on to gather millions of views. The argument is seductive. More than 2,000 years ago, the philosopher Plato described Atlantis as a great place built in concentric rings of land and water, a city that vanished in a single day and night. The eye, with its perfect rings, looks uncannily like that description brought to life. Supporters point to the matching circular shape, to nearby mountains, and to the idea that this region may have been flooded in the distant past. For anyone who has ever dreamed of finding a lost world, the resemblance feels almost too perfect to be a coincidence. And that is exactly where the trouble begins. The Atlantis theory about the Eye of the Sahara, however thrilling, does not survive a close look. Scientists and historians have pointed out problem after problem. The structure is around 40 kilometers wide, far larger than the city Plato actually described, so believers have to ignore much of it to make the size fit. Plato placed Atlantis by the sea, yet the eye sits roughly 500 kilometers inland and hundreds of meters above sea level, with no evidence the ocean ever reached it within human history. Most decisive of all is the age. The eye is tens of millions of years old, while Plato's city supposedly vanished a mere 11,600 years ago. And despite all the searching, no one has ever found the ruins of a city there. No buildings, no canals, no harbor, nothing a great civilization would leave behind. Most scholars regard Atlantis itself as a story Plato invented to make a point, never a real place at all. The Eye of the Sahara hides a genuine human secret, even if it is not a lost city. Scattered across its outer rings are countless ancient stone tools, left behind by people who lived here long, long ago. These were not the work of one lost civilization, but of countless generations who came to this spot over tens of thousands of years. They were drawn by the hard quartzite rock, perfect for shaping into blades and hand axes. What makes this possible is one of the desert's best-kept secrets. The Sahara was not always a sea of sand. For long stretches of the past, it was green, dotted with lakes and grassland and roamed by wildlife and people, the most recent green period ending only a few thousand years ago. Yet for all these visitors, no one ever built a settlement at the center. The Eye was a place people passed through and worked in, never a city, leaving behind only their tools as a quiet signature in the stone.